Welcome back to Questing Beast. I'm Ben. Today we're going to take a look at 1,000 Islands, issues 5 through 8, along with our supplement Drawings Part 2. So I've looked at some of these issues previously on this channel, issues 1 through 4 and some of the other supplements. But the idea here is that this is a zine chronicling a bunch of locations in a kind of fantasy version of Southeast Asia. It's all created by Dzuricky and Munkau, who do the writing and the art respectively, and it's one of my favorite publications out there. You can now get all 11 issues, I think, is the total so far, available in one big bundle. So I strongly recommend you check that out. I'll put a link down in the description below. Before I start, though, this whole series would not be possible without the support of my patrons over on Patreon. Thank you to everyone who supported the channel, and I'll do shoutouts for some of our new patrons at the end of this video. All right, so we start off with our first location, Stray Verasa, the Lost and 14th Hell. So maybe 4 days on fair winds. I love how every issue starts off with just almost like you're sitting on a boat and you're looking out the prow of your boat and you're seeing an island or some sort of feature coming up. An island called Stray Verasa. So the idea here is that there's a small archipelago and one of the islands is missing because you can only get there if you become truly lost. And it's called the 14th Hell because it is a location where a lot of the dead go to, at least certain types of dead. After they die, they appear on this island and just hang out there with the living. The art is, as usual, absolutely magnificent. When you get to the island, it looks like a little fishing village, basically, with some little huts on stilts. But when a cloud covers the sun and the sun is blotted out, you can start seeing a whole nother city that is built on top of it. That's the city of the ghosts. You have some of the magicians that live here. Lots of great write-ups of the NPCs. The focus is very much on the characters of each of these locations. That's where most of the emphasis is put. Creating interesting people that have complicated lives and desires that you're going to have a lot of fun interacting with. A lot of these books come with these little handouts. This one is Memories of Mu. So for example, this one, there we go. This one is, you can drop 5 dice, and so it was a time and place mostly known for, so things that the ghost might remember about Mu, the land that they all came from. So for example, delicate porcelain gods in every roof ridge, or barley wine aged for at least 3 centuries. A little write-up of the city here, especially the city of ghosts. Some of the citizens that you can find there. So for example, instantly absorbs any liquid they touch. Be careful they don't touch you. There's lots of great random tables for most of these books that give you a huge amount of variety. I love the individual write-ups for the NPCs though. And the art is just something that you could photocopy and take out and just show to your players, and they would get such a clear, vivid idea of who this person is. I love this little guy. Crabby Chim, Fist Saint. Hey you! The giant hermit crab wears no shell. Its eye stalks wiggle expectantly. Want to learn martial arts? Prowling the seabed, he nibbled the throat of a drowned corpse and ate its soul. Chim was a master of the punching arts, a maestro of the palm and backhand. Chim lives in Crabby now. You got a problem with that? Not a very good instructor. It's hard to teach proper form on 4 legs, but a tap from his pincer still shatters your spine. We have some piracy that the ghosts can do, where their ship dives underwater and then reemerges, kind of like Davy Jones' ship, in a river or a lake or a sea, anywhere they want to go. Each of these books has a bunch of crazy magic items. I love this one, the wreck nail. Ships are living things. They drown just as sailors do. A shipwreck's every board and nail carries shreds of its spirit. A boat put together with nails from a shipwreck does not sink. Reality mistakes it for the previous vessel, and a ship cannot die twice. All of the art, all of the writing is done in these very short, poetic sentences that just anchor the ideas into your head in a way that's really hard to get them out. I just love that about it. It doesn't go on and on trying to describe things. It tells you just what you need to know to remember it and to have it really stick. Corvudrowned Dry, Vassal of the Sea is issue 6. Starts off with a little bit of lore here. The idea being here that this was an island that is now claimed by the sea, or a kingdom that was claimed by the sea. So for 6 months out of the year, the whole town or the whole city floats on the water in like these houseboats. And the other half of the year, it returns to the seabed as the waters part. We have these crazy knights that have practiced ritual decapitation or replaced their heads with the prows of ships. So here's what the city would look like, or the city of Corvu would look like during the wet season when it has to float on the ocean. Some new delicacies and items that you can find there, including things like these little sea cucumbers, that if a marine animal eats it, then they absorb its obliviousness and now breathe and swim in air as if it were salt water. A lot of these items are just so gameable. There's just a great idea that you can just imagine all sorts of fun encounters and uses for it. This is fun. These are people creating a fish sauce spirit. And to create this incredible delicacy, they're going to need special ingredients. For example, a banana heart cut from a haunted banana plant. But if things go awry, it can turn into a fish sauce demon, and then watch out. We have a great illustration here of the royal family in their hall. You can see the prow of their boat sticking in through the back of it. The boats are actually people within this particular volume. So they have personalities and wants of their own. We have some guests from different sea kingdoms, including this guy who looks like a actual reef. We have missionaries of the How, who are these people that are controlled by jellyfish sitting on their heads and controlling their brains. During the wet season, the waters part and the houses go down to the sea floor where they can farm for half of the year. In order to dry out and to take away all the salt that's in the sea floor, they call on these salt gods that go around absorbing all the salt and turning to this giant salt behemoth that hopefully you can control and dissipate into the ocean, taking all the salt away from your fields. We have a whole bunch of encounters that you can find there. Another NPC, Tungfadama, Master Boatwright. And looking at number 7 next. Not sure how to pronounce this exactly. I think Gelalanka, the Road of Hoofless Horses. This one, again, has a fun concept. 3 days in close forest. Crashing through the brush, a man carries thrice his weight in stacked cargo. "Excuse," he snorts, waving you aside. He overtakes you. So this is all focused on a big marketplace that takes place on this island. And one of the unique features is that you have all of these kind of puppets of oxen or horses, and that while you're riding them, it partially possesses you and you take on some of the attributes of that creature. Maybe its speed or its strength. So you can haul huge amounts of stuff up the mountain. Some encounters you can find on the trail as you make your way to the marketplace. Some more great pictures of NPCs. Ambong, the Market Prince. So this place is ruled by let's see if we can have it here. So he's the ward in charge of the town. Cockerel struts about his domain, expects you to offer a gift. Anything less than an heirloom offends him. So the ruler of this place is like a 14-year-old girl who controls everything, including all of the wardens. So whenever any of her wardens, which are like her guards or knights, talk, they speak using her voice. Whole bunch of different traders you can meet with on market day. Some great random generators for getting lots of different results. We have a map of the big meat here in the center, with a small map right there, and then a much larger one if we open it up. That's actually keyed, so you can give that to your players. We have this guy who's a monkey dealing in spirits, giving you all sorts of like crazy drinks that you can have. For example, unicorn's breath. Multicolored sparkles. You exhale pink steam. Anybody who breathes this steam dances in step with you, like Bollywood film extras. Sounds like a good time. Magical hat stylist. A textmonger. Mosquito butchers. A trade missionary. Dusty Dusta's slavers, who specialize in slave royalty. Because you don't want normal slaves, you can get slaves that used to be kings. Some fun things to occur on market day. Here's Ember, the young queen, who is making all of these puppets. And there you can find feral puppets that have escaped and gone out into the wild. And our last location zine is 100 Red Scales. So this one, I think, is a small archipelago called the Red Scales that's mostly populated by these monitor lizard people. There's humans there too, but they seem to be the dominant species. Since monitor lizards can't talk, none of the people there talk either. They have a language that's purely done in sign language and gesture. We have a bunch of naming conventions for choosing names for the different towns, as well as the different characters that live there. Some great NPCs here: 17 Pallid Belly, Favored Chief, or 15 Stonebrow, Warring Chief. When you're choosing a name for one of these monitor lizards, you have to choose a number first between 11 and 20, which is the year of their life that they're given a name, and then some random words to go along with that. So you could have like 15 Lame Knee that describes what they're like. 20 Late Claw, Lightning Fist. Unconsciously picks at his many, many scars. A prodigy of the 6-limb boxing art, Late Claw is the youngest warden the temple has ever taken. He has more scars than any of his seniors. He wants more. His drive is easy to understand. He was last of his clutch to emerge. Now he must be first to the fight, fastest to strike, quickest to slay the foe. Exam Day. So this part of the Thousand Islands is famous for its dyeing and its weaving. So people from all over come to try and take the trials to get into their college to weave these expert textiles. We have Sri Skua, a kite god, who can also turn into a giant snake. So it's a kind of witch that's either in giant bird form or in giant snake form, and can transition between the two. And finally, we have part 2, which is all drawings. I'll just do a quick flip through of this. It's just so that you can luxuriate in the world building being done by Munkau, who's the illustrator for everything. It's absolutely beautiful. Special thanks goes out to our patrons for this episode, including Thomas Ryan, Elec Rabbit and Sleepy Shibe, Colin Powell, Timothy J. Decker, Chris Stagno, Lucas Skurdlent, Matt Gleason, Ryan Heffelfinger, Jeremy Abernathy, Chase Mayers, and Shane Droid. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, guys. So as I mentioned before, if you want to get all of these for yourself, head down to the description below, and I think you can get them in one big bundle, at least at the time of recording. And thanks for watching. See you guys next time.